we signed contracts and agreements with the Army Corps of Engineers for Phase 2 of our sewer project. We have funding for Phase 1 and we have funding for Phase 3, but Phase 2 was kind of not fully funded. So we have just signed off on an agreement for $1.3 million and $1 million for the village. The $300,000, I believe, is for the engineering costs.
Army Corps.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what we've done, is we've agreed to accept their money. We currently have a gravity-fed sewer system. I like to call it a municipal septic tank system, where our liquids go to a plant, but our solids collect in a septic tank in the ground. And the septic tanks have begun to fail. Not everyone's has failed yet, but a good majority, I'd like to say probably about 35% of them have failed. And every couple of months there's another one that's beginning to fail. And that means we're pumping. Some of these tanks we were pumping one tank every 3 months. And we finally, we were able to remedy that issue, but that's a cost to the village. So the village is spending a lot of money monthly on pumping and repairs to the septic tanks that are in the ground. And I think you heard me say that a lot of that's due to the bacteria being killed by disinfectants and antibacterials that we use on our bodies, our clothes, to mop our floors in, what have you, and they go down in the septic tank and it kills the bacteria that works to keep the septic tanks flowing. So this will save the village a lot of money just in pumps. The village owns each one of those tanks, so it's up to us to pump them, not the homeowner. One thing that I've been asked in the past is, and you do have a municipal sewer system, correct? And I will say, no, we don't. We have, and I explained the system that we currently have. So, and that was a restaurant that was interested. It was a coffee type shop. And then there was also another person that was interested in, I'm not sure what they wanted to start, but they were interested in our water and our sewer. So I'm going to assume it could have been a restaurant or maybe a little store of some type. When we have heavy rains, some of the groundwater gets into the tanks. They overflow. And it's not a pretty sight when they overflow. There's feces and what have you that comes up. So just health-wise, it'll be better for the entire community. And I want to say that no one's in danger of getting dysentery or anything like that, but it's just not a pleasant sight to walk out in the morning and see things laying on your lawn that shouldn't really be there, that should be in the tank. We've had backups into homes, and that is not healthy at all. And that's simply because the septic tanks quit working. We may have just pumped that tank 6 months earlier, and suddenly it's backing up into a home. And we'll ask them if they've called a plumber or whatever. It sounds like it's in their line. And by golly, we get over there and we pump, and it remedies the situation. They were full because nothing was moving in the septic tank. I think there's been a misconception with the community with the fact that they think we're going to raise their rates 25 or 30% on their sewer bill, and we're not. We've gotten grants that are basically free money, or just a couple of grants that we have payback on. And I think, is it $800,000 in payback out of almost $7 million. So out of $7 million, we have to pay back $800,000 over 30 years. Then we also have some loan forgiveness possibilities coming in from the EPA, and that will help bring that $800,000 down. We're not going to be pumping $500 and $600, maybe $700 worth of septic tanks each month. So that money can go towards the septic tanks, or towards the sewer, and for the payment down. So we're trying to keep, if there is any raise, we're trying to keep it between $5 and $7, and I think Gary did the math and said it could be at the high end $7, possibly $5, And if things go the way we hope, there may not be any increase except the normal yearly increase that we have, which is a 3% increase. I'd like to thank Gary Silcott and Tracy with DLZ Engineering, and also Curtis Strickland for everything that they've done. And Curtis is with RCAP, for everything they've done to help us get all of these grants. If not for them, we wouldn't have any grants whatsoever. They've done a lot of the work, the footwork, to get this done, and it's finally come to fruition. It's been 4 years. We started this project 4 years ago, and it's the only reason I ran for mayor again was because we were right in the middle. We were just starting to get the money coming in, or the promise of the money. There's another thing with that. The village doesn't handle the money for the most part. The entities do. So when we say that we've been given money, the village does not personally have the $1 million in their coffers. We don't see that. The entities that have given us the money pay out their portion to the contractors. We don't do that. So, and that's a misconception. People think that we've got $1 million or $8 million and we can just use that money to do other things with it. We don't have that money. It does not come to us. We sign off on it, and sometimes we are a pass-through where they'll put money into our account for a check to be cut that day and sent to the contractors, but the money is not in anything that's ours to keep. So